Hi YouTube. So today I want to discuss a topic called biocentrism. So biocentrism was a topic that was introduced back in 2007 by a man named Robert Lanza. So Robert Lanza is a pretty accomplished researcher. He's credited with pioneering a lot of research in stem cell research. He was in 2014 named one of Time Magazine's most influential people. So he's pretty smart dude. And side note, a prerequisite for this video is to understand the foundational quantum topic or experiment, the double slit experiment. So they sent a light particle through these two slits. When observed, it would act like a particle. When not observed, it would act like a wave. So that's basically a foundational experiment to understand quantum mechanics. Okay, so keep going forward. Robert Lanza postulates in some of his books, one of them is named Biocentrism. There's also Beyond Biocentrism, that we've been looking at all of reality kind of wrong. So how we look at reality is from a reality-centric perspective, that the universe was created, that the universe, space-time is at the bottom layer of it all, and then that life came afterwards. However, he posits that is a very limiting way of looking at reality. Which is why he looks at the center of all of reality to be life. That's hence biocentrism. So why is this? Is because life is basically acts as the observer. So the observer is what collapses the wave function to produce reality into a single state. That's kind of a new way of looking at this. Science is oftentimes, I've stated in my last video, is oftentimes very can get stagnant and be dogmatic, and so I kind of like these ideas that kind of push the envelope, which is kind of why I like this idea. I'm subscribing to it a lot, and I think it's a step in the right forward, at least worth pursuing. So a little bit of background on this is when Albert Einstein, super smart dude, right? He basically was going up against Niels Bohr, and they argued about what reality is and what this spooky action at a distance and all of that. Albert Einstein was even quoted. One of his quotes is even, and I think he said this kind of angrily, was, "Does the moon not exist when I'm not looking at it?" And in the end, I guess Niels Bohr kind of won out that argument. He posits that no, it does not exist if you're not looking at it. Reality does not exist if the observer is not part of that equation. Now, we can look at videos maybe by Sean Carroll, who kind of add some additional factors into how that all played out. He kind of thinks that Einstein was kind of misunderstood, that Einstein was more just trying to say, hey, we don't understand everything, let's not come to a conclusion, as Niels Bohr wanted to. And that I kind of agree with Sean Carroll, that Albert Einstein did kind of get shafted towards the end of his career in terms of how he was perceived. He basically, Sean Carroll interprets it as, this is just side stuff. He just interprets it that Einstein knew that we weren't at the end. We don't have a conclusion. We don't understand all of quantum mechanics yet. So let's not come to a conclusion. Rather, Niels Bohr wanted to come to a conclusion. It's just saying that the observer, collapses the wave field, and that's it. Period. Full stop. However, it doesn't account for lots of things like the observer is in a quantum state as well. So we don't know everything, but people like to just kind of put likes to have nice conclusions at it. And so rather than not having a conclusion, they just kind of gave the win to Niels Bohr, and even got a Nobel Prize, in the end. But neither here nor there. So back to biocentrism. So we we understand this about quantum mechanics, that all of reality comes from this Higgs cloud, this etheric Higgs field, is that they call it, and when the observer comes into play, then the quantum wave function collapses, and subatomic particles that make up the protons and neutrons, electrons that we know of to make up all matter according to that table of elements model of reality, that is produced probabilistically out of the Higgs field. It just comes out and then decays. And that's what we observe all of nature to be. So going back to Robert Lanza, so the point of this video, okay, let's go to that, is that what Robert Lanza and the point of this video is trying to move towards is that the observer and consciousness, which is consciousness, is associated with life. So again, biocentrism is that consciousness plays a part in what is probabilistically determined from the Higgs field. So one way of looking at it is that that the observer is merely observing reality as it's already been determined, and we have no influence on it whatsoever. However, there are ideas, such as will, such as decision making, such as we have some control over our future. So how does that happen? So that at a foundational theoretical core level, we should be able to have some say in whether conscious or not, some influence on what is produced from the Higgs field, what the wave function actually collapses to create the reality as we know it. We should have some influence on it. So Robert Lanza came out with this paper produced in the Journal of Cosmology and Astroparticle Physics. He co-authored it with two others. I can't even pronounce the full name of the title. Parisi-Sourlas-like dimensional reduction of quantum gravity in the presence of observers. So I'll just link that in below if you want to read it. I didn't understand most of it, but in the conclusion, he stated that these constant variables, these constants were determined, were influenced by the observer, such that what he's trying to get at is he's trying to find some sort of scientific way of demonstrating and supporting the fact that the observer does have say in the reality that gets produced out of the Higgs field when it collapses when observed. So that's interesting because that kind of conclusion and that kind of support for this idea kind of opens the door for these concepts, kind of these more like new age kind of manifestation, the topic of my channel kind of conversations about like, I don't know, just the secret and law of attraction and those kinds of things, how as silly as they may sound, how at a fundamental level of physical reality, how that might be the case, again, like I said in my past video, due to the observer being able to influence what is produced in reality. So in future videos, I might go into things like consciousness. So consciousness seems to be the catalyst or some sort of bridge that acts between the observer and which is life, again, and the Higgs field of this quantum cloud. And there are interesting papers out there that, such as like how the brain may act in a quantum have quantum properties to it, things like that. So those are pretty interesting. So it seems that we are on some sort of track to posit that the observer, that you out there, the individual, does have some say in what gets observed, and yeah, you might be able to manifest things. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'll go into more depth into that in future videos. But again, thank you for watching YouTube.